Liz McDonald, thank you. Well, with more, I want to bring in Ellie Mae CEO Sig Anderman, Joe Besker, and Todd Schoenberger still with me as well. Thank you, Sig, for joining us. What do you make of the current situation? Good, bad, ugly, getting better?
Well, it's certainly getting better. The economy is improving, and the fall off in home sales has stopped, and things are looking up. So I definitely say that we're on the road to improvement. All
right. So, Sig, I'm going to bring in Todd Schoenberger off the bat here, because he is sitting here during a commercial break and telling me no one should buy a home right now. It's a horrible decision. In fact, he says it's for dummies. But then I said, do you own a home? Yes.
Yeah.
Fools. I think you said more than one.
Only fools would buy a house right now. And here's the thing. You could talk about all you want about how we're going to have this great housing recovery. The past 2 years, yes, we have seen great housing stats. However, we were expecting the great Gatsby boom at this year, and we didn't see it. Now you have new construction right now, Joe. We're under 900,000. 1 million is that key baseline threshold. Underneath that, that means homes aren't being built, and we just finished the peak buying season, guys.
All right, so Sig, I challenge you to tell us from your perspective, what you're seeing that indicates that we are in a recovery and that things are getting better, as you said.
Well, of course, people buy homes not as an investment, but to live in them. And over time, it's been one of the best investments anybody could ever make, beyond just having a comfortable place to live. So home ownership is still at a high level in this country. And all surveys show that 90+% of renters would like to own their own home. So this is a great time to buy. Interest rates inevitably go up, and when they're down like this, it's a great time to buy a home and finance it.
So, Sig, you make a great point. We are looking at interest rates that are still so historically low, presenting a very good opportunity potentially for someone wanting to buy a home right now. But we're not necessarily seeing that happen. We've got reports that millennials are not buying homes like previous generations. It looks like the opportunity is there, but they're not seizing on it. Is it still difficult to get a loan right now? Is that perhaps something that's getting in the way of homeownership?
No. Well, actually, it's not as hard as it's reported to be. People with good credit and who have a job are getting mortgages and are able to finance their homes. So as long as you can document what you say you earn and what your assets are, it's actually quite easy to get a loan.
Well, I don't know if it's easy. It's easier at the smaller banks, the regional banks. The big banks are still, and it's the regulatory environment. But call me the biggest fool on the set. I just settled on another single-family home on last weekend.
Congratulations.
Well, no, I think it's a good area. I don't think we're ever going to see interest rates this low again. I think the carrying costs, I have somebody to rent the place. I think it's a great diversification. And if the Fed is handing you anything, this low interest rate environment is it.
Well, and those are interesting points. And Sig, I want to go to a couple items that you've presented to us. One is that a large amount of the purchases, home purchases this year, have been cash sales. Secondly, rental demand is up.
Absolutely.
Generally, an environment where rentals are up is not necessarily a good environment for home ownership.
That's right.
Well, you know, the millennials have suffered a bit for the last several years with student debt and with the economy being as poor as it is. But the economy is improving, and sooner or later, even millennials will create families and will want to live in their own homes. So the situation really looks actually quite optimistic. And you're right. The majority of loans nowadays are being taken out by individuals who go to local banks and credit unions and community banks rather than the big money center banks.
And, you know, Todd's over here shaking his head. He can't wait to get in here. What is it, Todd?
Look, the millennials don't want to buy a home because if you buy a home now, you might as well plan on dying in the home. You're never going to be able to sell that house, or at least sell it for what you think is the optimal value. Look, also you have to look at higher property taxes you have to worry about, higher maintenance costs. Why would you handcuff yourself by owning property when you could simply rent and call a landlord like Joe and have him?
If you're not going to own a home, what is going to be your major asset of your
stock
lifetime?
market? Why would you invest in the stock market?
Stock market.
What are you talking about?
Well,
I love the stock market. Put the money to work, because you're going to have more equity in the markets than you would. You might as well just buy a Ford.
Would you give this advice to your own children?
I would absolutely give them this advice. I'm giving your viewers the best advice out there, because everybody like this guy's going to tell you that this is a great time to be buying, and it's the worst time to be buying.
I still don't understand why you think it's the worst time.
Because
what's the bad outcome?
Okay, going forward now, you have so many the home builders did themselves an injustice by actually continuing to build when you had the housing bubble that was imploding. Here you have so much inventory that's out there. Now you don't have enough inventory for new homes, but even people aren't going to buy this.
Sig, I want you to get the last word in here, please, sir.
Well, home ownership is still a bedrock value in America.
I agree.
And people do want to own their own homes. They don't live in a portfolio. They live in a house. And that's what they want, and they want their families to grow up in a house that they own. So that seems to be the overriding value in this country.
Sig, I've asked this of a couple guests recently. I'd be curious your take. Again, only a couple seconds left here. Is the American dream still alive, and is owning a home part of it?
It's alive and well, and owning a home is definitely a part of it.
All right there, sir. Sig Anderman, thank you for joining us this morning. Joe Besker and Todd Schoenberger, you guys are all riled up, and I'm saying goodbye. It was a fun morning. Thank you, gentlemen.